I like this comment right here. He says, your videos have been a lifesaver. I'm halfway through the academy and have had a pretty hard time overcoming my anxiety about just not knowing things. Your videos have helped my confidence a lot. Well, this comment here helped my confidence a lot. Keep them coming. So let's continue down this path, this lesson plan, and dig into a common issue. A common occurrence that correctional officers encounter quite frequently. Are you ready? Wait a minute. Let me tone down my enthusiasm and just talk about the topic. Here at Just Corrections, we're excited about the profession. Excited to guide the next generation of COs. To provide relevant and relatable information that motivates. And let me let you in on a little secret. Come here. If you don't like the delivery, the approach, the beard, a backwards cap, then move on. There are others out there that do none of that. Are they gone? Good. Let's move on. Today I want to talk about something that happens a lot, that I've dealt with a lot. People refusing housing. People refusing to return to their cells for whatever reason. So how do we as the housing unit officer handle this situation? What are our options, our angles? What are the different approaches that we can take to accomplish the correctional objective? This is going to be fun. So sometimes incarcerated individuals don't want to go in. Maybe there's an issue with their cellie. Maybe they don't feel like their rec time was over. Maybe they no longer want to live in this particular unit. Maybe they're bored and you're the entertainment. Who knows? Who cares? You should care, actually, because the way that we handle this is directly related to the reason that they are refusing to comply. Or is. Yeah, I think I said that right. So let's talk approaches. Options. How to deal with said defiance and ultimately gain compliance. Well, number one, what I do and what I implore you to do is to reduce the size of your audience, meaning lock your unit down. Or if you're already in the process of locking the unit down, then finish that first. The less moving pieces, the better. This works whether the refusing resident is yelling or screaming or silently sitting in a chair. Clear the area. Isolate and contain, remember? So lock the unit down and get your backup rolling. Contact your sergeant or your supervisors or escorts or rovers or however you do it, just get them rolling. So the inmate has probably already told you at this point what the problem is. But let's play it out. Maybe they said they don't get along with their cellie, that there's going to be a problem, a fight, a physical altercation if they stay in there. That's probably the most common thing that you'll hear. Or maybe it's because their cellie stinks or snores or is white or black or whatever. So let's look at this for a minute. It could be one of those things. It could be that this guy with lightning bolts tattooed across his face won't get along with somebody because of their race. Or that this young kid who got housed with somebody who's bigger and older and more experienced may be uncomfortable sharing his cell. It's hard to tell. Sometimes people just want to be housed with their friends or fellow gang members, etc. So the reason really does matter, and I like to dive into it a little bit when I'm dealing with this situation. Maybe it's superficial, but maybe it's serious. Who knows? Who cares? You should care. Because what happens if you don't take their reason, their request at face value? What happens if their cellie is bullying them or threatening them or worse, and you don't take him seriously? You don't investigate. We hear this and sometimes we assume that they just want to be moved to hang out with their friends. Or maybe they owe somebody some money and don't want to pay their debts. And that may be the case, but so what? Can we let an inmate get assaulted or murdered because he owes a guy some ramen and a bag of chips? I'll answer that for you. No, we can't. We have to act on information. I'm not saying that you have to believe or buy into every story, but you have to act. So for the sake of this illustration, let's just say that the subject that is refusing housing is doing so because he's going to be transferred to another unit. And he doesn't want to go. And his charges are, well, not good. And you get called in to escort this guy to the other unit, and then when you get there, you find out he's not going. He's refusing. So what do you do? Let me walk you through what I do. Now, keep in mind that every situation is different. Every inmate is different. Policies, procedures, skill set, it's all different. Make sense? So if I'm the unit officer and I'm telling a guy that he's got to roll up, that he's transferring to another unit, and he says, no, I ain't going. Good! Lock it down, fellas! Head to your rooms! Then I get on the radio or the phone and say something like, hey, Sarge, can you step into my unit? And then once my unit is secure, I start to approach the inmate, right? But I keep my reactionary gap. And I ask them why they don't want to go. Now for me, body language and tone are key right here. Non-threatening posture, matching tone. And then I say something like, hey man, what's going on? Why don't you want to go? And then I let them vent or explain their reason for refusing. I don't get worked up. I don't speak over them. I don't tell them that this isn't a hotel and if they wanted a better room, they should have booked their reservations a little bit earlier. I just listen, validate their concern. Yeah, I can see why you don't want to be in that cell anymore. And then I explain what's going to happen next. Yeah, I can see why you don't want to be in there. So here's what we got to do. You're going to have to move to another unit, and then because you refuse, you're going to be placed on lockdown, and then after that, tomorrow or the next day, you're going to have a hearing, and then you'll have the opportunity to explain to them why you didn't want to move, to give them your side of the story. So will you go ahead and get your stuff and walk with me? Or maybe the guy isn't leaving. Maybe he isn't moving to a different unit. Maybe he's just staying there. I might say something like, I can see why you don't want to be in that cell anymore, but right now we don't have anywhere else to move you. So can you work with me? Sometimes just taking a few extra minutes to listen, to communicate with the person is enough to gain compliance. Remember body language, tone, your language, right? It's not what you say, but how you say it. And remember that ultimately that individual is going to do whatever we need him to do, so there's really no reason to get all spun up. You get that, right? We will achieve the correctional objective. This will end in our favor. So approach it that way. It's a victory lap. Of course, shit could go sideways. Shit could get bad. Absolutely. But we will, in the end, achieve the correctional objective. Guys, I remember when I was new, I took everything personal. Every time an inmate was defiant, every time they refused housing, every time they didn't follow exactly the set of instructions that I gave them, I remember. I was pissed. And I was just talking about this with my son today. I told him that I used to yell and scream and lock the day room down. But now I don't really do any of that because I realized I was told early on in my career that people aren't there for following the rules. And that's kind of why they're in jail or prison. So I kind of learned to temper my temper early on in my career. And you know what? It works. Sure, there are times to yell and scream and give directives, but you don't have to do that all of the time. Just whatever. You do what you want. If you liked this video, if you found value in this video, straight punch that little like icon. And if you're looking for more premium correctional content, check out this video right here or this video right here. All right, guys, that's all I got until next time. Be smart, stay safe, stay sane, and we'll talk soon.